Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we are going to tackle a concept that is absolutely fundamental to algebra: domain and range. Now, I know those words might sound a little intimidating, but trust me, it's really just about understanding the basic rules of the game for any function. You know, what you're allowed to put in and what you can expect to get out. So, let's jump right in. All right, here's our game plan for today. We're going to start with the basic rules of what a function is, then we'll give those rules their official names, domain and range. After that, we'll see them in action, go over some common mistakes to avoid, and then we'll tie it all together with how this stuff actually pops up in the real world. Okay, so let's start with the big idea here, the rules of a function. Think about it. Every function has its own set of rules about what can go in and what's going to come out. The absolute best way to think about this is to imagine a machine. Let's say a soda machine. It's built for specific inputs, right? You put money in, and depending on that input, it produces a very specific output, a can of soda. You can't just shove a sandwich in there and expect something to happen. And that's really all a function is. It's a predictable machine with a very clear set of rules. So, now that we've got this idea of inputs and outputs down, it's time to give these rules their official math names. So, the set of all possible inputs, everything you are allowed to feed into our machine, is called the domain. In algebra, you're almost always going to hear these called the x values. It's basically the complete list of approved ingredients you can use. And on the flip side, the set of all possible outputs, everything our machine could possibly give you back, that's called the range. And these are our y values. It's the full menu of results you can get from the function. Okay, I'm about to give you a fantastic little trick to keep all this straight. It is a total game changer. Just remember, Dix-Roy. Seriously, it works. Dix stands for domain input x value, and Roy is for range output y value. This little tool is like a secret weapon for never, ever mixing them up. All right, enough with the theory. Let's get our hands dirty and actually see how this works in practice. We're going to find the domain and range in a few different situations. So first up, we have a simple set of points. To find the domain, we just need to grab the first number from each pair. Those are our x values. So we've got 2, -1, and 0. It's good practice to write them in order, so our domain is -1, 0, 2. Easy enough, right? Now for the range. We grab the second number in each pair, 5, 3, and another 5. Now, here's the most important rule. Sets in math don't have repeats, so even though 5 shows up twice, we only write it once. That makes our range simply 3, 5. So what about a mapping diagram? Well, you're going to love this because it's even easier. The work is pretty much already done for you. The set of inputs on the left, that's your domain. The set of outputs on the right, that's your range. You literally just have to list them out. So in this case, the domain is 10, 20, 30, and the range is 5, 8, 9. That's it. Okay, so those examples were pretty clean, but let's be real. Data isn't always that neat. What happens when things get a bit messier and we've got a bunch of repeats? So let's take a look at this table. You can see right away that some of the x values and y values are showing up more than once. So how are we supposed to handle that? Well, it's the exact same process we just used, but with one little cleanup step. First, list out all the x values you see. -4, 1, 3, 1, and -4. Then just get rid of the duplicates and put them in order. That leaves us with our domain, -4, 1, 3. Now we do the exact same thing for the y values to get the range. List them all, 7, 0, -2, 7, 0. Clean it up, remove those duplicates, and sort them. And we get -2, 0, 7. See? That no repeats rule always applies. Okay, you're doing awesome. Now that we've seen this in action, let's quickly cover a couple of common traps, just to make sure you get this right every single time. So, what are the most common ways people get tripped up when they're first learning about all this stuff? First up, writing repeats. I know, we've mentioned it, but it is the #1 mistake. This slide has a great way to think about it. A set is like a guest list for a party. You don't list the same person twice, right? Same idea. The other big mistake is just mixing up domain and range. But if you ever get stuck, what do? You just remember our little trick, Dix-Roy. Domain is input, which is x. It'll get you back on track. Okay, so this is all great for your math class. But let's answer that big question that's probably on your mind. Why does any of this actually matter? Let's connect it to something you use every day. Believe it or not, a restaurant menu is a perfect real-world function. The domain is just the list of all the items you can order. The burger, the fries, the soda, those are your inputs. And the range, That's the list of all the possible prices you might pay, your outputs.
And this puts it perfectly. If you try to order something that's not on the menu, say lasagna at a burger joint, what happens? They can't make it for you. You're requesting an input that isn't in the domain. You've just created a real-life domain error. It's a simple but really powerful way to see these rules in action.
So here's the big takeaway. Once you really understand domain and range, you start seeing these input-output systems everywhere you look. So now that you know the rules, what other functions can you spot in your daily life? Maybe a vending machine? Your phone's contact list? The world is absolutely full of them. Thanks for watching.